How's it going, everybody? Undertow Tyler here, bringing you beneath the waves and into the webway for another spin yet again. I got the shitty background, I got the crazy hair. It's 2 a.m. It's ready for a video. Now what you're about to see is me building the entirety of the Dark Eldar Poison Blade box. It's been a while since it was released. I think it was released in like the last year or so. But it's this plus everything I have unboxed to this point besides the Age of Sigmar stuff. So you guys just tune in and I'll be with you shortly. I want to show you step by step on what I used, how I used it, and give you a little brief summary of my technique through it all. I'm not going to go through anything really specific, and if you'll notice at the end there will be a couple of white models that simply just miss the paintbrush, so I'll have to get to those later. Maybe I can make a paint video about it later. Alright, sorry for the audio issues there, everyone. That's enough of awkward Tyler. Now here's to the informative Tyler. Now, what I was using for the bases is what you're seeing right now. I was using Milliput from Hobby Lobby. Pretty easy to work with, I noticed. It's pretty much like green stuff, except it's a lot bigger. And I was using the X-Acto knife to get out my portions and everything, of course. And I had the bright idea from Goobertown Hobby to do this. So I did all the bases just like he did for his 24-hour time lapse. And he mentioned using Milliput instead of green stuff because he felt that green stuff was a little too hard to work with. So I took that into account and I just used only Milliput. And right here I'm just taking a break, of course. Everybody needs a break. So I took the cinder block and I would press it up against the base to create that concrete texture. Because I knew what I wanted. I wanted my Dark Eldar running through the streets of some hive city or some random planet, urban planet, capturing slaves, putting everyone to the bayonet, the splinter pistol, and splinter rifle. So right here I'm doing all the warriors. And I'll be honest, this Milliput did take a while. This is definitely no 24-hour challenge. I took a lot of breaks. It was like days in between spots of work. And I probably should mention what kind of super glue I used. So I used Gorilla Super Glue Gel for gluing a lot of the weapons, them on the bases, just so I can snap it off later. And it's been a really good glue. My buddy used it for this towel off camera. But for the plastic glue, I used Tamiya Extra Thin Cement from Hobby Lobby. I got it from Hobby Lobby. And it worked pretty good on flat spaces. Like, if there's a lot of points of contact, it works really well. However, for the arms, I did have a huge problem with them popping off because it's such a small point of contact. So whenever you're doing those, I would probably recommend using the super glue because it was the only way I could get it attached. Now here is where the grueling part of it was. The Cavalite warriors. I had to do it in batches to assemble them and to paint them. As you can see with all the flying bases and everything, I cut holes in the middle of the Milliput so I was able to glue them in place. I took my time with it and I made sure there was no fingerprints on any of the models, cleaned up all the mold lines that I could, and I cleaned up all the sprue bits that was on them, just like everyone should. And now I decided to do a test model, priming this with a Vallejo white surface primer, some Vallejo airbrush flow improver. This is pretty much a budget airbrush that I have with a portable air compressor. Definitely not the best tool in the market, but it definitely does the job whenever I'm doing priming in general. Because I like being able to prime anytime I want to, instead of the weather dictating it. And so far, the primer did go on pretty smoothly. Right here, I didn't have to worry about too much of detail work because I can take my time on one singular model. wanted to make sure I had an even white coat throughout the entire model. I would have went for a zenithal highlight, but due to COVID, I couldn't get a Vallejo black in time, in a reasonable amount of time I wanted to do this video. So I just went with a straight white to make the whole model brighter. All throughout when I started, I used a black primer, and it made everything really dark, which isn't so much of an issue. It hides a lot of the recesses, a lot of the errors. However, in order to get a model that looks good, I would highly recommend priming in white in general. It just makes the whole model pop as a whole. Tell you what though, this Citadel base holder is actually really well. It really helped out a lot. Oh, there we go, I go dropping it. Background on me, I'm definitely the clumsiest person I know. All the time I end up knocking my own models off the game table, or knocking them into the deep dark oblivion known as the floor. Make sure I got every square inch of that model. And then after I got done with that one, here's the rest of the army primed in all its glory. Not so much. And as you can see in the back, I have some potential models I may do in the future. There's the Razor Wing, the Reaver jet bikes, and the Cavallites. Go close-up view of the Talos. He definitely was a little bit bigger than his flying stand. And the Archons, of course, I had converted. I'm sure you can tell what pieces I converted them with. And I didn't put any of the crew members on the transports. They make good conversion pieces anyway. And here is the color scheme I came out with. Purple and moot green with black guns and Baneblade brown on the flesh. And now here I'm just going to go ahead and put a base coat of Zurius Purple by Citadel. It's a layer of paint, and so I had to put it on in multiple layers. I probably would have been better off with a base coat of base paint, or Vallejo's Blue Violet, I believe what it's called. However, this is the paints I have on hand, and I'm a firm believer of working with what you have. So basically with almost every model in the army, especially within this box, I will be using the Zurius Purple, except for the Witch Cult and the Homunculus Covens. Those are going into a different color scheme. I wanted to differentiate between the three factions and represent the Homunculus Covens, the Cults, and the Cabals. And here is the finished product. All 28 Cavalite Warriors based and fully painted to my satisfaction for now. I went in with the Waystone green to do all the gems on the blasters. The Archons definitely went together really well. I used a moot green to highlight everything, to go for more of a neon theme. Made the edges of the blades for the Archons bronze to differentiate them from the other weapons. And that Baneblade brown definitely came into work. Not my best work, especially on the Venom. I'm I'm definitely going to have to go back in, fix them up. And this is actually one of my favorite models of the bunch that I did. I wanted to put a transition to make it look like the scales were on the outside of the cloak instead of the cloak itself. So I went with a dark green by Vallejo. I forget the actual name of it was, but I think it went on pretty well. The Razor Wing is definitely a work in progress. I got it to a point where I don't feel sad seeing it on the table. Now the Talos, I definitely was going for more of a green and pink scheme. And here's the Witch Cult, which I'm pretty proud of. The blue definitely went really well with the Reaver jet bikes, with the red and the black. And I used, of course, Thousand Suns blue for that. Now the Scourges, of course, all you know, that's my favorite unit. And all in all, I'm pretty proud of these guys. They caused me a lot of trouble, I must say. Arms fell off, guns fell off, heads fell off, and a couple of waists popped off too. So if you're using that Tamiya extra thin cement, I would definitely recommend you put it on pretty generously on the spots that only have one connection. However, it'll work just fine for whenever you're gluing like torsos together. Now, afterthoughts on it, I had a lot of fun assembling them all. Definitely recording it provided me a lot of motivation to get them all done and painted. So that is a good 1,000 points of Dark Eldar painted as of right before 9th edition, actually. Now for the Talos, I was originally going to highlight with the pink, but it definitely did not work out the way I wanted it to. So I ended up highlighting, dry brushing with the moot green to make the dark green pop. And that Talos, of course, is the work in progress. I will be adding more detail to that, the Razor Wing, and the Venom, of course. Not completely satisfied with them, but that's the thing. You just put paint on it, and it looks a lot better on the table when you do. You should never be afraid of not painting your miniatures, because you're never going to learn anything if you don't go ahead and try. Now the Razor Wing, I did that at the end, and I was getting tired, so pretty much the entire bottom of that is unfinished as of right now. However, I will be going back and adding more detail to it later. The Scourges, I think, turned out the best, in my opinion. And I think after all this, I'll be done with Dark Eldar for a minute. As you guys saw in the back, I had some models that I had bought from a local man around my area, and it is something special for me to show y'all in the future. Now in the future, be on the lookout for some of those models you saw in the back, because I will be doing videos on them for sure. I can tell you one of them is the old resin incubi, slightly damaged. So I hope everybody enjoyed the video, and you're welcome to go above the waves and back into real space. See ya.